Right now, your business is probably bleeding thousands of dollars on fragile software subscriptions that don't even talk to each other properly. You know the drill. You're paying a premium just for integrations when what you really need is true automation. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a massive, data-driven shift in how modern enterprises actually operate. We're talking about moving away from those bloated, legacy software-as-a-service integration stacks and all the expensive headaches that come with them, and moving toward a future powered by secure, autonomous AI agents. Agents that can literally replace entire operational workflows.
So I want you to ask yourself a pretty hard question right off the bat. Are you actually building your core product, or are you just managing the software that manages your business? Because if you feel completely trapped, just manually dragging and dropping connections between data silos all day, you are definitely not alone. A lot of businesses fall into what we'll call the automation trap. But the era of manually connecting these rigid tools, it's ending. AI agents aren't just summarizing text anymore. They are quietly replacing entire integration platforms.
To give you some context on how widespread this is, a recent analysis looked at roughly 12,500 posts across different Reddit SaaS and startup communities. And one glaring pain point kept popping up over and over: integration fatigue. Founders were saying that basically every enterprise demo ends with the exact same question: does it integrate with this obscure tool? Because of this, up to 60% of highly expensive developer time is getting sucked into maintaining brittle integrations instead of actually building the core product. That operational friction is just a massive, unnecessary drain on resources.
Now, the sheer scale of how people are trying to solve this is fascinating. According to a McKinsey report on the state of organizations, 88% of organizations are currently deploying AI in at least parts of their business. But here's the catch. Most of these organizations are just deploying fragmented chatbots to speed up individual tasks. They're totally missing the bigger picture. A chatbot doesn't solve your integration bloat. Honestly, it just adds another tool for your team to manage.
The real future is an AI-enabled operating model. We are moving way past the era where you have to manually configure a rigid trigger and an exact action. You know, the old setup where if a client emails you a complex request, traditional automation just breaks because it only understands strict rules, not context. Instead, we're shifting toward intelligent middle layers. By routing your data through advanced large language models, the system actually reads and comprehends the input. It applies actual reasoning. It effectively acts as an intelligent middleman that costs pennies per task rather than thousands of dollars a month in management and subscriptions.
Okay, let's dive into the macro shift we are living through right now. The research team at ARK Funds actually calls this the transition into the Agentic Era. Think about it. From 2007 to 2022, we lived in the mobile era. That was all about touch interfaces and gated, highly specialized apps. You had to navigate the software yourself. But since 2022, we've stepped into the Agentic Era. Now, natural language interfaces let users just express their goals, and autonomous agents go out and execute the necessary steps across multiple platforms for you.
So, the absolutely crucial takeaway here is that this changes the entire enterprise software playbook. As the folks at Soster pointed out, when AI agents become essential infrastructure, the whole economic model flips. Customers are going to start paying based on the actual value and the work they receive, rather than just paying for a fixed number of rigid seats on a platform. Moving forward, platform strategies that offer this kind of flexible, autonomous execution are going to heavily beat out those old-school, rigid point solutions. And this isn't just about software, it's about the very structure of our workforce. McKinsey's research finds that as AI gets deeply embedded into our workflows, around 75% of current roles will need to be reshaped. We're talking about decomposing traditional business processes so that humans and AI agents can collaborate as actual teammates, not just as users operating tools. Humans are going to oversee and steer the technology, while the AI agents handle the end-to-end execution of all those routine workflows.
Business leaders are definitely catching on to this massive potential. In fact, 84% of leaders surveyed plan to expand their shared services centers into AI-native global business hubs within the next year or two. But you have to look at the flip side of this data. Over 40% of them haven't even systematically started adopting the technology yet. Why? Because underneath all of this incredible efficiency, there is a massive critical risk that is stopping enterprise deployment dead in its tracks.
That massive hidden risk is security. According to a breakthrough paper on autonomous execution by researcher Joel Foucault, prompt injection attacks against enterprise AI systems skyrocketed 340% year over year in late 2025.
And what's really wild is that indirect attacks, which is where the AI ingests a malicious instruction hidden in a seemingly normal email or document, accounted for over 55% of those observed incidents.
This brings us to a categorical difference in how we need to think about AI safety. When an LLM is just a conversational chatbot, the worst-case scenario of a security failure is usually that it just generates some bad or misleading text. But when an AI agent has the ability to execute real-world actions, like reading your internal files, making network requests, or modifying your database, a safety failure can result in irreversible destruction or the total theft of your company's deepest secrets.
Security experts actually refer to this as the lethal trifecta. If your AI agent has access to your private company data and it's exposed to untrusted external content like incoming client emails, and it has an exfiltration vector, meaning the ability to make external web requests, it is structurally vulnerable to an attack. It's like leaving the vault door wide open. If an attacker hides a malicious prompt in something as simple as a PDF invoice, your AI agent might quietly forward your entire client database straight to a hacker's server.
Now, most companies try to fix this by just typing "don't share private data" into the AI system prompt. Well, the Parallax paper exposes this as the prompt guardrail fallacy. The reality is, language models cannot reliably distinguish your security rules from the untrusted data they're processing, because both of those things share the exact same computational substrate. Instructions and threats just blur together entirely. To make matters worse, these safety boundaries naturally degrade the longer a conversation goes on. And if one agent gets compromised, that infection can actually spread to 48% of the other agents running alongside it.
With this massive structural vulnerability looming over everything, it makes total sense why the McKinsey data shows that 86% of organizational leaders feel completely unprepared to adopt AI safely into their daily operations. They know the automation is incredibly valuable for sure, but they rightfully don't trust the security of the current systems to protect their proprietary data.
So, let's look at how this translates into an actual, working architectural solution. The Parallax paper introduces a completely new paradigm called cognitive executive separation. Basically, instead of relying on the AI to place itself, you physically and structurally separate the brain that thinks from the hands that execute. First, you have an untrusted agent process that is completely sandboxed. It can plan actions all day, but it cannot execute them. Before any action actually happens, it has to pass through an independent, multi-tiered shield validation. Only if it passes that strict check does it reach the trusted engine process to safely run the code.
And the testing for this architecture is intense. They used what's called an assume compromise evaluation. That means they bypassed the AI's reasoning entirely and just assumed the agent had already gone completely rogue and was actively trying to destroy the system. The results were staggering. Standard prompt guardrails alone blocked 0% of the attacks. Nothing. But the Parallax architectural boundary blocked 98.9% on default settings and a full 100% on maximum security. It proves that physical architectural boundaries hold up even when the AI itself completely fails. To bring this all together for you, replacing a bloated $5,000 a month legacy integration stack with autonomous AI agents is an absolutely incredible move for your ROI. It completely eliminates friction and allows you to build a genuinely lean AI-native business. But you can only unlock this end-to-end automation safely if you deploy it with strict, localized data sovereignty and structural execution boundaries. You absolutely have to build on a secure foundation. So, I want to leave you with this final thought as you look at upgrading your own tech stack. If your AI agent's reasoning is hijacked by a bad prompt tomorrow, is your underlying business data architecturally secure today? Don't settle for basic chatbots and flimsy prompt guardrails. Demand structural security for your autonomous workflows. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you next time.